Ready to become better at math? Start with these 5 easy steps towards math mastery. Hey there, and welcome to How'd You Get That, where we solve all your math and physics problems. I'm David, and today we are taking a look at 5 techniques to help you become more confident with math, do better, and maybe, have some fun in the process. Okay, having fun with math might be a bit of a tall order, but some people really like it and have fun with it. Some really cool people, like me. Please like me. Math is not intuitive for everyone, but that's okay. Let's take a look at some techniques that will hopefully help math be a little bit more intuitive and connect with some things that might be more fun for you in your brain. So this first one is big. The first thing you want to do with any problem is to organize it thoughtfully and deliberately. If you can organize a problem first, then you can organize your thoughts around that problem. For instance, if I'm given a problem like this, 12 is equal to the log base 2 of x to the negative 3 power. The first thing I want to ask myself is, what do I even want to solve for? Well, in this case, I want to solve for x. That's the only thing that's unknown in this problem. And so I might use properties of logarithms and some algebra to solve for the rest of the problem. So I might do this, and then this, and then this, and solve for x. But I made a mistake here. Do you see it? Go ahead and look for it. The bonus tip here is to always write your equations in a vertical way. You want to write your equations one beneath the last so that you can spot errors and mistakes more easily, like this one, where we forgot the minus sign. But if you organize your problems vertically, you can see where those mistakes are and amend them. Number 2 is write everything down. As a tactile learner, I have to do this, otherwise I won't remember a thing. I can look at an equation for a long time, but unless I write it down, it's not really gonna stick as well. So the first thing I do with any problem is copy it down. No matter if it's given to you explicitly, I don't do any manipulation yet, I just simply copy down the problem. And if there's any other extra important information, I write that down too. So for instance, this problem, the sine of 2x is equal to the square root of 3 over 2, where x is between pi and 2 pi. Now that last bit of information is really important because technically there would be infinitely many solutions to this problem. But that piece of information restricts my answers to just between pi and 2 pi within the third and fourth quadrants here. If I didn't know this piece of information, I could have guessed my more intuitive answer, which is maybe in the first quadrant here, which would be incorrect in this case. So write everything down, especially if it's given to you. So say you look at a problem and you look at it and you're just like, what the heck am I supposed to do with this? Well, one thing you can do is draw out a picture or draw out a graph or make a chart or a table to help you visualize and ground yourself in space about what the problem is actually asking. So for instance, I might be given the question, find the local maximum of f of x is equal to 2x cubed plus 10x squared plus 6x. I might draw out a rough graph to figure out what exactly I'm looking for here. I could of course use my calculator to solve for this, but in case I'm not allowed to use a calculator or I want to give myself a little bit of a challenge, I can use what I know about this type of function to help graph it before I solve for it. I know this is a cubic function, so I know it's going to have kind of a hilly shape to it. It's going to start from the bottom left corner of the graph and go up to the top right corner of the graph because that leading coefficient, 2, is positive. And so my local maximum is gonna be this point here. But where is that point? It could be here or here or here. The last thing that I know is that I can see that there's a factor of x in each of my terms in this function. So I can actually factor out that x and find my first 0 of this function pretty easily. And that first 0 is x is equal to 0. That means that this function passes through the origin, which is pretty convenient to know because that restricts my answers to this problem to cubic functions that look like this. Now, of course, I can't solve the problem just using this method. I'd have to either use my calculator or some more rigorous mathematics to actually solve for the local maximum, but it gives me a good grounding in space. And it also gives me a good ballpark for what my answer should be. So this one you can't exactly do in the exam room, but you can do it in the privacy of your own home, and that is to say the problem out loud. Sometimes when we look at a problem, all those numbers and symbols and figures don't really seem to mean much. So take a look at this example here. That's a lot of symbols. and maybe we don't exactly know what they mean off the bat. But what we can do is sound the problem out loud to make sure that we do understand what's going on. So we might say, what is the sum of -1 to the I power times x to the I minus 2 power from I is equal to 1 to I is equal to 3 when x is equal to 2. Okay, so we've sounded it out and figured out that we know what every part of this expression means. If when you're going through a problem and you can't verbally say exactly what the problem says, then you probably need to go back to your notes or your textbook and figure out what all those symbols mean. And once you've done that little bit of research, you can use that vocabulary in future problems. So this goes without saying, but practicing your techniques and the skills that we've been talking about throughout this video is super, super important for expanding your math skills. Make sure to do your homework sets, but when you're studying for an exam, do more problems. Do math all the time. Walk around your room tracing out how many steps it takes you to get around your room, and measure the length of your foot and convert that unit into square footage of your room, or figure out how long it takes for you to get to school and the distance it takes to get to school, and find your average speed as you travel to school on any given day. Take the amount that's in your piggy bank or your bank account or whatever your allowance is and see how much money you'd be making if you compounded that money annually or monthly or continuously. Make math a game, practice it all the time, and you'll find it'll be more fun, more interesting, and improve your math skills along the way. If you're interested, I've written the answers to all the problems in this video in the description below. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, along with suggestions for what you'd like to see on future videos. I also offer one-on-one online tutoring sessions for students of all skill levels, so if you're interested, shoot me a message. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell so you never miss another math, physics, or problem-solving tutorial. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next problem.